Well, welcome back to Brands Hatch. All you MotoGP fans who are having a bit of a British Superbike treat today, don't worry, because round 11 of the championship is coming your way from Brno in the Czech Republic. Free practice starts on Friday at 12:10. That's live on British Eurosport 2, as is qualifying Saturday, 5 to midday for that. And the races start next Sunday, 9:15 in the morning, and that is on British Eurosport. So we will see you there for that. Now, we are just a few moments away from the start of the Metzler National Superstock600 Championship race, and I'm joined at the end of pit lane by the man who is leading the championship, Keith Farmer, by his manager, Darren Gawley. Now, Darren, Keith Farmer, as I said before we went to the break, is leading the championship, very commanding position for him, but he's at the tail end of the second row of the grid. What went on in qualifying?
Tony, with a few issues just with setup and suspension. And with help of K-Tech, we really only got it sorted out for this morning. But I think a big problem with Keith was we were riding at Silverstone on the Superstock600 for Paul Bird, and I think the jump back onto 600 has caught him on the hop a wee bit, you know. But we think with the setup we got this morning, I think things should be okay for the race. We've a good race setup. So we're looking forward to the race. I can't
accept for one moment that it's scrambled his brain really on the Superstock 1000, because Keith, as we've mentioned time and time again, off-roader, supermoto rider, gets on the road bike now this season, and it just all clicks. You must be very happy with his performance.
Oh yes, well, everything that we've told him to do, he has done it. We've never had a problem with Keith that way. And he just seems to adapt so quickly, and he adapted quickly to the 1000. But I think it's just to come back to suspension, the different suspension and stuff like that. He just found it a wee bit difficult to get up to speed, you know, on the 600. It just caught us on the hop a wee bit with him, you know, and we're a bit surprised to find him down there ourselves. But we know we have a good race setup, so we're not a bit worried, you know. Him starting on the second row, he has started from further back and won races, so.
Exactly that. So we'll see how he goes. Darren, we'll let you go because they are heading off on their warm-up lap. So thanks for talking to us, Darren Gawley there, the team manager of Keith Farmer, the man who is at the tail end of the second row of the grid, but the man who is also leading the championship quite considerably. Right then, let's get on with the Metzler National Superstock600 Championship race here at Brands Hatch, and hand over to our commentators for this one. It is James Whittam and Jack Burnicle.
The sun beaming down on Brands Hatch here, but it's a pretty chilly wind as well out there. Keith Farmer, after his victories at Oulton Park, Crofton, Thruxton and Knockhill, 4 on the trot, leads the championship on 109 points ahead of Conor Behan. Paul Setter here at Brands on 71, Glenn Irwin on 64, Dean Brown just behind him on 62 in 4th place ahead of James East. 57 points. Cody Nally in 6th ahead of Australian Ben Burke, level with Nally on 48. Johnny Blackshaw's Haribo Starmix Triumph is 8th ahead of Freddie Russell and Jake Newstead. Outside the top 10 we've got Dan Kinlock, Grant Whitaker, Tom Young, Jonathan Lodge, Twister Hastings 15th ahead of Ben Grindrod, Josh Wainwright, Adam Lyon, Rose and Dominic Usher. Conor Behan on pole position by half a second from James East. Freddie Russo in 3rd place ahead of Alex Olsen, having his best qualifying yet on the Haribo Starmix Triumph. And then we've got number 7, Dean Brown on the Colin Appleyard Macadam Racing Yamaha, heading up row 2 ahead of the number 2 machine of Glenn Irwin from Carrickfergus, now on the Team Green Kawasaki 600, ahead of Jimmy Dye, the Triumph Triple Challenge winner from last year, and Keith Farmer, the championship leader. Johnny Blackshaw on the 2nd Haribo Starmix bike is on row 3, ahead of number 13 Jake Newstead on the Team Tinklers Yamaha, and Ben Burke and Brad Anderson rounding out that 3rd row. And the 4th row is headed by Josh Wainwright, number 5 on the AG Suzuki, ahead of Jonathan Lodge. And a newcomer, Andy Reid, is transferred onto that AG Suzuki from the 125 GP class, and he's qualified ahead of number 123 Daniel Murphy. Ross Ashman, number 71, is starting from pit lane, the man from Bath on the Wild and Lie Racing Kawasaki, and the blackest leathers I've ever seen in action. That's a great sinister outfit he's got.
I like how he's trying to psych himself up there. He's visor down already.
There is the familiar eyes of Conor Behan.
Unmistakable
helmet. About to slap down that clear visor. He doesn't trust the sunshine here, the Cheshireman. 14 laps, Metzler National Superstock 600 Championship, Brands Hatch, and a great start for Conor Behan. as he cleaves across towards the inside of the track to cover his line into Paddock Hill Bend. So off pole position, Conor Behan makes the start.
Yeah, 40 riders out there. Takes a lot of doing getting everybody around this first half lap safely into Druids. This is where shenanigans are going to start, I reckon. Hey.
Oh, and somebody's down. A collision as they exited the Druids Hill Bend there. And I think, was James East one of them? It was number 56.
James East is one of them. That is 56, yeah.
It's East Racing's James East.
I think it's Glenn Irwin.
And Glenn Irwin. So two of the leaders have clashed coming out of, and they are two guys who qualified on the first and second row of the grid respectively. And what bad luck for them. All the effort of a weekend, James, and you end up...
Third and fifth in the championship as well, Jack. That's tragic for them.
Really, what a blow as these guys come up Hawthorne Hill out of Pilgrim's Drop, through Hawthorne Hill Bend, and then dive through Westfield, and already that likely figure of Conor Behan streaking away at the front.
Yeah, I've got to say, when Conor Behan is on form, he is a quick lad. We've seen that from his 125 experience. Well, every class he's ever been in, when things click and the circuit clicks, he's a quick lad, is Conor.
And look who's appeared in second place, James. It's that rascal himself, Keith Farmer. He may not have got on with the bike straight away during qualifying, but the championship leader is now second ahead of Freddie Russell.
Yep, and you'll tell Keith Farmer's style, don't matter what bike he's on, his elbows are out, and he's kind of a kind of gangly, awkward style, but it works.
As he dives into Paddock Hill Bend, he's ahead of Jimmy Dye, Jake Newsted, Johnny Blackshaw's made a good start on the Haribo Star Mix bike.
Here we go.
What's happened?
Yep, we're looking round. Yeah, and that they were right at the front as well, third and fourth. And that's a typical Druids first lap. There was a little bit...
And was that East lost the rear end?
Yep, East lost the rear, and that took Glenn Irwin down, and that's why Glenn was just not happy with that. You can see him, he stands up and he goes to pick his bike up, has a little look at maybe kicking James East while he's passing him.
Now Keith Farmer then, that's let Keith Farmer off the leash a bit, although having said that, ahead of him is the man who's second in the championship, Conor Behan, on 71 points, leads the race.
Keith Farmer is, I will tell you, definitely on a Yamaha. That is a Yamaha R6, there's no question of that.
So Keith Farmer in second place in this race. Ahead of him is the man who's gone off like a hare at the front, the number 72 bike of Conor Behan. Third place is a strong ride from Freddie Russell, who's been happy all weekend. James, something I was talking to you and James Hayden about just a little earlier this morning was how the Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit really suits some riders. There are guys who don't necessarily qualify terribly well virtually anywhere else, but they come here and they're brilliant. And then at other tracks they kind of revert to where they would normally qualify.
Yeah, it's one of them circuits. It's got a lot. There's a lot involved. There's lots of every kind of bend, off camber, ups, downs, bits that don't give as much grip, bits that give lots of grip, and it just tends to be a rider circuit. If you enjoy your racing and you're prepared to get stuck in, it kind of favours you around here.
That's the black bike of Jimmy Dye, number 77.
Wow! And that's a funny one. That's down Paddock Hill, and he's ended up on the inside. And to be honest, I've not seen anybody end up there for a long, long time. It has happened before.
It has happened in a World Supersport race, probably a dozen years ago, involving, I think, Stefan Chambon. And it's number 141, I think, who's gone down. That's Brad Anderson from Stockport.
Yeah, Brad is, yeah, it is.
The Black Horse Kawasaki.
He's a little bit winded, I think. The bike kind of just rolled over him. It didn't land from any great height. He'll be all right, but I think he's just a little bit winded.
So Brad Anderson.
Here we go. And that's a weird one. See, he lost it. He hit the paint coming down Paddock Hill, lost the rear, then saved it. Watch. And that's what shoots him towards the inside. That's an unusual crash.
That was almost an astonishing save, James.
It was, yeah. To be honest, it's lucky he did actually tip off at the end, because he would have gone into the barriers on the inside. On the bike, it'd have hit him fairly hard.
Huge moment coming out of Sheen Curve there for the white motorcycle in second place of Keith Farmer.
Yeah, but he don't mind that.
No.
Lots and lots of supermoto experience, lots and lots of sliding about. He doesn't mind the bike moving underneath him.
Freddie Russell in third. Jimmy Dye has lost that fourth place because it's Jake Newsted, number 13, on the Team Tinklers Yamaha. The Norwich-based East Anglian bursts through into fourth place. Behan, Farmer, Russell, Newsted, Dye, Blackshaw.
And what is Team Tinklers? What is Tinklers? I'm intrigued. You must know.
No, I don't.
Oh, okay.
I'm really... Freddie Russell is obviously a guy who likes this track. Bike number 19... Freddie Russo from Brentwood on the AP Kawasaki. He's loving this place. He's a kind of local boy. There's number 24, Blackshaw. He's got another faller. And in the air fence at Paddock Hill.
Yeah,
wow, he's buried himself in there.
Yeah, the bike's underneath. He has hit a little bit of air fence there, so that's if you're going to hit a fence, that's the best one to hit.
Oh, and it looks like the Haribo Star Mix Triumphs are getting in the mix here as we watch number 24, Blackshaw, just ahead of his teammate, number 23, Alex Olsen. The safety car's out. We're on the 4th lap of 14. Safety car is out. That'll close things up a bit. Connor had bolted at the front, James. He'll have to do it again.
He will. And whatever you say about this Superstock, National Superstock 600 class, these are predominantly young lads, and they want to go and they want to do well, and that's why you get so much action. I love this race. That's 120. That's Murphy.
It's Daniel Murphy from Rochdale on the Danny Murphy Racing Yamaha. He's given himself a little repair bill, bless him.
Yep, I've crawled out from underneath those big fences myself, and it's one of them, you're rattling towards them, you're going quick, and you think this is going to hurt a lot, and it generally doesn't hurt as much as you think it's going to do. They do the job properly, those things.
This is Connor Behan, number 72, obviously feeling a little bit, his head just dropped a bit then, as if to say, darn it, I've done a bit of work and got away at the front.
That's exactly it. You've done the hard work, you've got a gap, you can defend that gap, and you've got it to sort of fall back on in the last part of the race, and he hasn't got that now.
So Connor Behan, who finished 7th in this championship in his debut year last year, just behind Adam Lyon, a championship of course that was won by Josh Day from Luke Stapleford and Danny Buck, and 3 riders who've moved on to other classes. Yeah, so I've split it wide open.
And this is the safety cars out, they're still being stuffing out of each other. I can't believe this. It's nuts.
So this is the classification after 4 laps. Connor Behan leads it for Kawasaki ahead of Keith Farmer Yamaha, Freddie Russo Kawasaki, Jake Newstead Yamaha, Jimmy Dyer's 5th, Johnny Blackshaw the leading Triumph in 6th place ahead of Dean Brown, Alex Olsen and Andrew Reid, who caused mayhem in the 125 GP class at Knock Hill and seems to have been subtly moved on into the Superstock 600 class.
Yeah, the find of the season in this class has definitely been the man there on the red and white Yamaha, Keith Farmer, the Northern Irish lad, has just been a find. He's only been on road race bikes, actual, proper time, as opposed to Supermoto for about 18 months, and he has been the find. That's the fella. And I mean, his style's a little bit awkward. He is getting a little bit more polished these days as he does more riding on tarmac. But he's been stupendous. He's just about won everything. He missed the first round here at Brands Hatch, and then pretty much won everything else since, except for Snetterton. He's had 4 wins in a row. He's been tremendous, as Keith, and he's a nice lad as well.
He also rode rather splendidly at the Silverstone World Superbike Championship round, finished just shy of the points, despite the fact he shook himself up and wrecked his bike with a crash on Saturday afternoon qualifying.
Yeah, that was in the Superstock 1000 European Championship, yeah. And he says the power of the thing just caught him out, and there's a lot of difference. These things are stock 600cc bikes. These things giving about 115, maybe 118 brake horsepower, fairly stock form. The equivalent in the 1000cc stock, obviously a lot bigger engines, almost twice the size cc-wise. The big ones that he jumped on at Silverstone are getting on for 200 brake horsepower, about 190 brake horsepower. That's a big difference for exactly the same weight of motorcycle.
So number 72, the man at the front, 2nd in the championship standings there, is going to have to hold them up a bit and then make one heck of a restart. The Cheshireman on the Bristol Team Green Kawasaki.
You can't imagine Connor Behan having much of a plan, really, can you? But and I say that in a nice way, because I love him. He's a lovely lad. He's kind of passionate, but he don't look to be a thinking rider to me, I've got to say. I might be wrong, and I apologise now for saying that, but we like him because of his passion.
The riders there, James, are just passing one of my favourite spectating points from on those grass bags just on the inside.
And this is it, look.
Sterlings.
See,
now they're all boxed in. Look at
this. It's a plan, and they're not allowed to overtake each other until the start and finish line. So now he's having a look. The car's in, and he's having a look. I think that's what he's trying to do. I think he's trying to help his teammate out.
I think he's messed it up for himself. No. He's had, look, I mean, they're right with him, and you're right. Russo's going to try and tuck underneath in the Paddock Hill bend.
I'm scared now.
Now it's really tight, and Russo has got underneath Keith Farmer. He certainly has. Well, what a move by Connor Bean, and Freddie Russo takes up the challenge. And Keith
Farmer's got the worst of that.
Oh, he's got knocked clean out of the top 6 because Blackshaw's through, Olsen's through. Someone's got him on the inside, down to Graham Hill Bend. Oh, what a frantic restart.
Oh, Keith Farmer got beaten senseless there by trying to What happened was he tried to tough it out with Freddie Russo, and that's what cost him. He got on the outside, got on the dirty part of the track, lost the back end, and got, well, passed by 4 or 5 people.
So now it's a pretty, we're on the half-distance lap here of a 14-lapper, the European Superstock 600 Championship. Alex Olsen making a move, dives underneath Jimmy Dye. So Olsen showing the sort of form he did in qualifying. So the lad of Norwegian descent, Alex Olsen, now through the 4th place on the Haribo Star Mix Triumph.
Meanwhile, Keith Farmer, he's actually dropped back to about 8th or 9th place. He must try and regroup and get going again. There he is, just disappearing out of shot now.
So this is developing into a fairly entertaining race. We've got Farmer with a huge... Oh, we've got a faller at Sterling's Bend. And that was number 70 who went down. And that was Andrew Reid showing up really strongly on the AG Suzuki. He's gone down. Yeah, first time out, former 125 man, and he just lost the front end. And that's unusual to lose the front end there, Jack, because there's so much camber at Sterling. It's a brilliant corner to get stuck into. And he just, I'm not sure that might have decked out, you know. That might have just touched the floor, had something hit the floor and lift the wheels up, because both wheels went at the same time. Look, Bean is just setting about opening up a gap again. He's set the fastest lap so far, 131.117. I think what we saw on the start and finish trying to help his teammate out was the fact that he was so confident that he could do what he did in the first part of this race. Do you know, James, his fastest lap time is 1.1 seconds quicker than anybody else. Yeah. Look here, is this, no, it's number 13, Houston. I thought for a moment it was Farmer trying to make a move, but he's even further downfield than that. Yep. New lap record confirmed, 131.117 for Cheshireman Connor Bean. And I tell you what, this race is going to make a difference to this championship. If Connor Bean goes on to win this and gets 25 points, and Keith Farmer stays around about 8th place, it takes a chunk out of Farmer's lead. Yep. 38 points the difference at the moment between Keith Farmer leading the championship and Connor Bean in 2nd. Freddie Russo leading the way, right behind him Alex Olsen, who qualified his best ever in 4th place, now running 3rd. But there'll be excitement in the Haribo Star Mix camp because Johnny Blackshaw's there behind him in 4th place. And you know, one of the good things about this stock class is what you expect is the newest of the bikes to come out of the manufacturer. Here we go. Here goes Olsen. That's Olsen. Moves underneath Freddie Russo. Clean as you like. Clean. He's gone wide though. He's gone wide. So Russo picks it back up. Does he have the superior speed? But Olsen will be going quick. Olsen will be going quicker onto the straight. Yeah. Neck and neck. They're still at it, and it's not going to end yet. So the battle on then. Number 19, Freddie Russo on his Kawasaki, and here comes, and Olsen losing out to teammate Blackshaw. Well, that's the way to treat your teammate, isn't it? Mugging into Druids. It's fair. All's fair in love, war and Superstock 600 racing. You're right. You know that. So here we have Johnny Blackshaw, the 19-year-old who's just finished his first year at Northumbria University at Newcastle, number 24, studying business marketing. Now back at home in Warrington, working at Percy's Autos. Business marketing? That's not a proper thing to do. What, when you're a motorcycle racer? He needs to do engineering. Oh, what media studies? And right behind him, look, number 23, Alex Olsen, who's still in the mix here. And Alex, well, does this make more sense? Alex Olsen's waiting to start his apprenticeship in heavy engineering with Cone, the people who make industrial lifts and escalators. That sounds more like a man's job. Yeah, heavy engineering needs to change class to the Harley Davidson XR1200. And at the moment working as a steel erector down in the bank vaults in the city of London, and even on top of lighthouses on the south coast. Steel erector, that put hairs on your chest. That's what Rob Mack did. That was Rob Mack's job before he started racing. And this is the two Haribo Star Mix bikes running 3rd and 4th. Great news for Derek Sanders and James Jackson, the principals of this superbly run team that requires that the riders are going about a kind of professional life outside motorcycle racing with some kind of ambition and study involved. And Farmer is making inroads now. Farmer's up to 6th place behind that battle involving Blackshaw, Olsen and Brown. So we've got Bean, Russell, Blackshaw and Olsen. Brown is 5th. Keith Farmer now just 0.8 of a second behind in 6th place. Yeah, and then we've got Grant Whittaker, Ben Burke, Jimmy Dye's been pushed back to 9th, and Jake Houston to 10th.
Yeah, Grant Whittaker, get this, he's from Halifax and his girlfriend's from the south coast, like Worthing area. Now that's a long distance relationship, that is. Mind you, might get on for it, I don't know.
That'll keep it hot and pleasant.
I wouldn't mind posting my missus out at South Coast occasionally.
Number 60, Ben Burke, remember, was the winner when we first came here on the Indy circuit. There he goes, number 60, Burke. Underneath, number 79, Grant Whittaker. Beautiful red and yellow combination as they come out of Hawthorne Bend along the Minter Straight. So Ben Burke moves through to 7th. Whittaker squeezed back to 8th. And Olsen back past. I thought he was basically going that little bit quicker than Johnny Blackshaw, who just has a moment there, lifted out of the seat as he comes out of the seat. And behind him we've got a faller. Dean Brown has crashed on the Appleyard Macadam Racing Yamaha.
And I actually don't know whether that is exactly the same crash as we saw Reed having a few laps ago, and it's unusual. That's an unusual crash. What goes in mid-corner and loses the rear. It is. But that's quite unusual. There's so much camber there, Jack. You feel dead safe. When you pitch into that corner, you feel really safe until you're coming out the corner where the camber drops away. Really unusual.
So the leader, Conor Behan, 2nd, Freddie Russo, 3rd, Alex Olsen, followed by Johnny Blackshaw, Keith Farmer. Then this battle, Ben Burke, number 60, just ahead of the yellow Grant Whittaker, 79. Jimmy Dye in black, right behind them, number 77. With Josh Wainwright tucked in behind him on the surviving AG Suzuki. I'm
not sure about Grant Whittaker's yellow paint job. I think it's his dad who's maybe got a cheap job lot of yellow paint, I think, there.
The HWW Tyre Warmers Ferris Racing Yamaha of the lad from Halifax there, number 79. Grant Whittaker looks over his shoulder. He's decided that Ben Burke may have got the better of him, and he's just checking out the state behind him in 8th place. Ben Burke, riding number 60, the bike Interceptor Yamaha by Seaton Tuning.
I'll tell you what, Seaton, they turn a lovely bike out there. They're lovely looking bikes.
And look at the battle going on behind them. This is Jimmy Dye, and look at Josh Wainwright really pressing on the surviving Suzuki. Ahead of Newstead now, Jonathan Lodge and Alex Berkshire, all involved. And just off the back of them is a newcomer, Scott Hudson, who's been winning 21 races in MRO racing this season, and decided to have a bash at this at the British Championship for the first time.
Well, he's not having a bad bash at it.
He's not, is he? Grant Whittaker now has decided what he was doing, obviously, James, was checking there was no one behind him to bother him, so he can now attack Burke.
An attack is the word you would use in this class.
Yes.
Either with a motorcycle or a hatchet.
Round Druids Hill Bend, Grant Whittaker tucks underneath and tries to look for it. The AG Suzuki's moved through to the head of that pack. So that's Jimmy Dye lost out in 8th place to Josh Wainwright.
Yeah, we're not used to seeing Suzuki GSXR600s at the front of this class, but I tell you what, there's nothing wrong with that standard GSXR600. Normally, it's the bike that is the best at the time. Manufacturers bring different bikes out, and there is always a bike that's the one to have in this class. But there's nothing wrong with that Suzuki. I've ridden the standard bike and I like it. It's a little bit bigger physically, but it's a lovely bike to ride.
Conor Behan in control, but look what's going on behind him. Freddie Russo still holds that 2nd place. Alex Olsen right behind him on the blue and white Triumph. His teammate Johnny Blackshaw is there, but Keith Farmer looming. The presence of the Ulsterman is looming large on his white Yamaha just there behind the Triumph.
And he hasn't got long to do it. He's got this lap and another 2 to do what he can about reducing the kind of benefit that's going to befall Conor Behan at the front of this race, championship-wise.
I wouldn't know how you'd work your way out of that sentence. Well done, that was brilliantly constructed.
I can't believe I got away with that.
Conor Behan crosses the line to complete 12 laps, and his advantage at the moment is 3.372 seconds. He set a new lap record on lap 8 of 1:31.084.
And that, you know, it's classy when somebody's setting a lap record with a gap when he doesn't have to do it that far into a race. It's good.
So Conor Behan has really got this race settled down, and underneath his, well, it looks now as if we've got 2 distinct battles. It's Russo versus Olsen for 2nd, Blackshaw versus Farmer for 4th.
I agree.
Well, this is getting interesting. Look, these are 2 tall lads, James. Look at them on these bikes. Blackshaw is virtually a 6-footer. Keith Farmer's quite a tall lad. A lot of his height's in his teeth, actually.
Don't do that. You can't say
He's got
that.
a lovely toothy grin on him. And this is Alex Olsen really threatening Russo. Russo having a brilliant ride. The lad from Brentwood on the other side of London. And Alex Olsen took right in behind him.
And add on to what I said before, I've got a text through. It says Tinkler's is a big Yamaha shop in Norwich, and the guy who runs it is a top bloke called Adam Tinkler. That's it. I feel satisfied now. I know. I had to know that. And apparently he's a really good bloke.
And here comes Keith Farmer. Ooh, that was almost a lunge underneath Blackshaw.
Yeah, and that's a brave lunge, because that's the place where that man there, Farmer, has seen 3 or 4 people go down the road.
Here he comes underneath as they're going to the right-hander.
Can he hold it tight? No, he runs a little bit. No, that's all right. That's good. That's good.
Blackshaw can't get tighter. So Keith Farmer moves through to 4th place. It's Behan, Russo, Olsen, Blackshaw and Farmer as they charge into the final lap. But Blackshaw makes another move up the inside into Paddock Hill Bend. Brave move from the
Farmer
Warrington
cuts to
boy.
the inside, and he's going to go up the inside. I can't
up Haywood Hill.
I can't see Blackshaw stopping him into Druids. Supermoto men. They're good at getting it stopped and turned.
Oh, this is really exhilarating racing in the 600cc Metzler National Superstock race. There goes the leader, Conor Behan. The battle for second, Freddie Russo, number 19, 23, Alex Olsen. And there's Farmer now through to 4th place, ahead of Johnny Blackshaw.
Yeah, I think Farmer actually could have gone with Russo and Olsen if he'd have got past Blackshaw a little bit earlier. I really do.
So down Pilgrim's Drop, up Hawthorne Hill into Hawthorne's Bend. And Alex Olsen, maybe he's thinking that the Clearways and Clark Kerr will give him the opportunity, James, here on 3rd place.
It's difficult to see what his plan is, but I'm sure he's going to have a stab at the second step on the rostrum instead of the lower one. He's running out of places to do it, though, Jack. He's got Stirling's and then Clearways. That's all he's got now. He ain't going to have enough, I'm sure.
Alex Olsen, who's very much a local boy from Cooling near Rochester, as he dives down towards Clearways. He's going to have to get terrific drive from the Triumph. He's certainly close enough to Russo if he can cut it back as they head for the line. Conor Behan takes victory on the Kawasaki. Great result for the Cheshireman. Second place goes to Freddie Russo. It's a Kawasaki 1-2. Alex Olsen in 3rd place. 4th for Keith Farmer, 5th place for Johnny Blackshaw. And look at that race for the line, and I think it's Ben Burke, the Australian, just gets the advantage over Halifax's Grant Whitaker. Josh Wainwright, Suzuki, is 8th. Jonathan Lodge, 9th. Alex Berkshire in 10th ahead of Jake Newstead. Jimmy Dye, Twister Hastings, that young man Scott Hudson. Great debut for him, gets 2 points ahead of Niall Campbell.
Can I have an iron lung, please?
I think Conor Behan's going to, all this team are going to enjoy that.
Well, that his team manager, that big guy.
I've no idea.
I don't know whether he looked like he was going to congratulate his rider or actually chin somebody.
So here we are. This is Conor Behan giving the classic burnout at the top of Druids Hill. He certainly dominated that new lap record as well.
I presented prizes at a Wirral Club dinner dance a couple of years ago when Conor Behan was on 125s, I think just finishing on his 125s, and he got really squiffy on about 2 pints of lager he did. Wobbling about all over the place.
There you are, a bit like me. It's what it is. I think it's long skinny frames that do it.
He'd drink you right under the table, even with his 2 pints of lager.
Conor Behan then, number 72. He's closed the gap, not as much as he might have liked, but Keith Farmer had a 38-point advantage before this race. Connor's added 25 points to his score, that takes him to 96. Keith finished 4th there, that gives him another 13 points. He goes to 122. So that gap, it's a bit more manageable with rounds to go yet.
It is.
At Cadwell, Donington and Silverstone, and back here at Brands Hatch.
And if you look, when you look at what they've done so far this season, Conor Behan has put not a bad championship together, and he's definitely getting quicker. He's got better scores towards the end. Last time out, 2nd. Remember, Snetterton was the last time they scored. No race at Oulton for him. And he was 2nd there, so his stock's rising, his Conor Behan's.
He's scored in every race. 3rd at Thruxton, 2nd at Snetterton. This is first victory of the season then on the Bristol Team Green Kawasaki, ahead of Freddie Russo. Alex Olsen, a terrific 3rd and the first of the Haribo Starmix triumphs to get on the podium this year. Keith Farmer in 4th, Johnny Blackshaw, Haribo Starmix triumph in 5th. Then Ben Burke on the Seaton Tuning Interceptor Yamaha 6th. Ahead of Grant Whitaker in 7th. Josh Wainwright, AG Suzuki, is 8th, ahead of Jonathan Lodge and Alex Berkshire. 11th place for Jake Newsted. Jimmy Dye in 12th ahead of Twister Hastings. Scott Hudson, the lad who's won 21 MRO races this season already. What a great debut in the British Championship for him. He gets his Yamaha through to 14th ahead of Niall Campbell, with G. Cook, Gawtrey, Lawson, Tom Fisher and Kelly rounding out the top 20. This is where we find out if our combined mathematics have worked. Yes! Keith Farmer, 122 points, leads the way from Conor Behan on 96. Glenn Irwin remains marooned on 64, 2 points ahead of Dean Brown. Ben Burke closes up on 58 in 5th, level with Freddie Russo. James East drops to 7th. Johnny Blackshaw is 8th ahead of Cody Nally and Jake Newsted. Outside the top 10, we're looking at the 11th place Grant Whitaker now, ahead of Dan Kinlock and Tom Young. Jonathan Lodge is 14th, just a point clear of Josh Wainwright. Twister Hastings 16th ahead of Ben Grindrod. Alex Olsen making inroads into the top 20 ahead of Rose and Usher. Pole setter Conor Behan made the perfect start to the Metzler National Superstock 600 race, launched himself into the lead into Paddock Hill Bend, and it looked as if he was able to govern the race pretty much as he chose from that point on. There was an unfortunate coming together, exiting Druids, where James East lost the back end of the East Racing Yamaha, took out Team Green Kawasaki's Glenn Irwin. So they went down on their backside. Then a huge crash out of Paddock Hill Bend for Brad Anderson on his Kawasaki. That meant that the safety car came out. Conor Behan, though, looked confident. He held everybody up, almost beckoned Freddie Russo through to second ahead of Keith Farmer. And on the restart, Russo duly did as he was told, and Farmer got absolutely mercilessly beaten up through Druids and had a load of work to do to get back. One of the AG Suzukis, the newcomer to this class, Andrew Reid, crashed out at Stirling's. He went down after losing the front of the GSXR 600. The battle was on for second place. Alex Olsen was keen to make a move and did make a move on Russo, but Russo retook him down Paddock Hill Bend. And then we had another faller as Dean Brown lost the rear end of the Macadam Racing Appleyard Yamaha, dropped it at Stirling's. Keith Farmer finally bulldozed his way past Johnny Blackshaw's on the Haribo Starmix Triumph, as Conor Behan took his first victory of the season ahead of Freddie Russo and Alex Olsen, with Keith Farmer in 4th place, still holding on to the title lead.
And we are here in pit lane with our 3rd place finisher, Alex Olsen. Well, Alex, that was a fantastic ride out there, right up until the very end, very last corner. You looked like you might have pushed for second.
Yeah, we had a good race. We just struggled to get the grip down the last bend, so well done to Freddie. Ran a good race, and it was just good to be up there.
You were saying that as you were coming out of Sheen, the back tyre was spinning up quite a bit?
Yeah. The setup was a bit dodgy, but thanks to the teams, worked hard this weekend and just give it a good go.
No better way to thank the team than doing a podium, so we'll let you guys do that. Well done.
Just like to thank the team, Cotron, Medway Metals, Mum and Dad and Haribo. Thanks.
Perfect, well done, off you go. Now, our 2nd place finisher, Freddie Russo. You look like you've been through a fight, Freddie, out there. It was a bit manic, to say the least.
Yeah, it was. I mean, Al didn't let me go, bless him. It's his first podium. It's good to be up here with him, but no, it was a hard race. I mean, the plan when the safety car came out at the restart was to get past Keith Farmer straight away, see if I could get away with Conor, but it was a blinding pace. I mean, he pulled about 4 or 5 bike lengths on us straight away. Just could not keep up, so I was just trying to hold second in front of Al. My bike kept hitting false neutrals in 4th, so I don't know if you see it onto the straight. All of a sudden the bike just went flat. I was begging for a gear. I was like, not now, but yeah, the bike came through. AP Kawasaki, top bike, sorted out, 100% suspension.
Brilliant. Nice to see the relief. Nice to see the weight lifted off your shoulders by bagging that 2nd place. Well done.
Just a few thank yous to Malcolm, ND Dairies, PR Track Bike Hire, World of Bikes, and Maxon, AP Kawasaki, ND Dairies. I think I already said them, but they get a 2nd one.
Brilliant, they definitely will. Off you guys to the podium. Well done. And our race winner, Conor Behan. Oh, Conor, not once but twice did you clear off. They barely saw which way you went.
Yeah, well, I got in front and then the safety car come out and I thought, oh, not again, that's the 3rd time that's happened now, so I wasn't having none of it this time, and he had a bit of a mess about with him onto the start and finish straight as well. I thought it was quite funny, but yeah, it was a good race and I tried my hardest and it's really paid off this weekend.
What do you put your pace down to, because you were head and shoulders above everybody else?
Yeah, I mean, we just managed to get one perfect lap together in qualifying, and I think that just gave me the confidence for the race, really, you know. Bike's been running well all weekend, and couldn't ask for any more, really.
Love to see you on top of the podium, as you were many times in 125, so we'll let you go there now, but Conor being very well done.
Yeah, I can just say a big thanks to everyone that's helped me. Max and Suspension, got to thank them because I forgot the times before. Dyna Pro, Barry, Brabus Enterprises, CNG, everybody that's helped me this year. It's been absolutely fantastic. Kawasaki Team Green, thanks a lot. Cheers.
Now, hang on a minute, before you go, you just said a very bad swear word, a category A, so apologise to everybody at home.
Sorry.
Right, off you go then to the podium, and apologies for that language in there, but he's an excited lad at the end of another race when he's off to the podium, and Jack will take us through it.
So the 19-year-old motorcycle mechanic from Northwich in Cheshire takes his debut victory in the National Metzler Superstock 600cc Championship, ahead of the second place Freddie Russo and in third place Alex Olsen. So it's all changed really for the rostrum finishers in the Metzler National Superstock 600 Championship this year. Good move. Conor Behan qualified on the front row. We lost James East in that crash on the first lap. Freddie Russo came from the front row of the grid to finish second. Alex Olsen from the front row of the grid to finish third, which is not often that qualifying positions are quite that predictable in race results. Dean Brown led the second row of the grid. He crashed out. Glenn Irwin was taken down on the first lap. He was starting from the second row of the grid. Jimmy Dye got pushed backwards. Keith Farmer got pushed back and came back to finish fourth. Third place then for Alex Olsen, second place for a delighted Freddie Russo, and having finally got on the rostrum for the first time at Silverstone last year when he finished third, on his way to seventh in the championship. This young man from Cheshire, Conor Behan, is now challenging for the Metzler National Superstock Championship of 2011. His first victory of the season. Alex Olsen will be pleased with that. Conor Behan, of course, finished seventh. He won at Croft and finished seventh in the British 125 GP Championship back in 2009. So he has tasted the top deck of the rostrum before at British Championship level. But this is his first occasion on the top of the rostrum in the Metzler National 600 Championship. And I don't think it'll be the last after a performance like that. Broke the lap record on the way, the perfect performance, and even did it all again after the safety car had been out. Well done, Conor Behan, and congratulations, Freddie Russo and third place man Alex Olsen.
So there we go then, Conor Behan, not only showing them the way on track, but showing them the way as well when it comes to spraying the champagne. Excellent results for the tall, lanky Kawasaki man in the Metzler National Superstock 600. We're going for a short break, but when we come back, we'll be out with a scream as the Sunoco British 125 GP Championship race is next.